people will associate this type of sleep paralysis like phenomenon with alien abductions and seeing grays and things like that. So there's like this whole vast world of just things people see within sleep paralysis. I just remember feeling a presence come into the room. First thought being, oh, that's him. Second immediate thought being, oh, no, that's not. And then being in paralysis and not being able to move, freaking out, trying to scream for my brother. It's just like these gasps of air. That was the first initial thing I remember, just shooting up out of my bed, gasping for air, turning to my brother who's still asleep, and then just turning the TV on static and leaving it to light up the room.
So, our story today begins with Oscar, a 32-year-old guy who grew up in California in the USA, and whose paranormal experiences span decades. His first paranormal experience started when he was around 8 years old, a couple of years after the passing of his father.
Well, my dad, I had a short time with him. I think I was like 5 to 7 when he passed. Crazy guy from what I remember. Strict memories of watching Grease and dancing to those movies, and then him doing a backflip into a pool.
Nice. And
then also showing us the tarantula he caught. So those are like the few memories that I do have from him. And that's where my like love of actually like this kind of stuff, like mainly like horror-esque things, because we also used to watch Tremors with him. I don't know if you know what that movie is. But
yeah, I've seen Tremors. Yeah, I remember Tremors.
Yeah. So we would watch that all the time as well. And then when I was 5 or 7, that's when he passed. And I just remember it just being, as a young kid, it's like, it's a snap.
Yeah.
Everything is now changed. The world is kind of flipped upside down.
Now, like most of us who have lost someone close, Oscar starts to sense something around the house with him and his family, and he does what any of us would do when we're missing somebody who has crossed over. He starts speaking to his dad, looking for a sign that it is him.
And so my mom also went into like kind of like a disarray as well. So I kind of got thrown into this position of like, okay, keep it together, make sure your brother's all right, make sure mom's all right. And you know, during those moments, it'd be little things of toys going off and pennies and coins being found all around the house, and my mom would say things like, oh, that's just your dad trying to talk to you, it's just your dad communicating with you. So in my head, I'm like, oh, this is, I can do that sort of thing. So I end up making that kind of like just a call out into the ether. It was like, God, anything else, if you can just let me see my dad one more time, then, you know, I would be forever grateful. I'll do whatever you want, just to let it happen one more time. And then during those moments is when I'd feel something come into the room, and at first I thought like, okay, that's him. But then it has like this heaviness to it. It's very...
Yeah.
You hear like this sound of static, and I had no pre-information about what sleep paralysis was or anything like that.
Long after Oscar first spoke out into the ether, he has his first major spiritual experience. But it's not all as he would have initially hoped, and with most ghost stories, he starts to feel something isn't quite right with what he's seeing.
I just remember feeling a presence come into the room. First thought being, oh, that's him. Second immediate thought being, oh, no, that's not. I don't know what this thing is. And then being in paralysis and not being able to move, freaking out, trying to scream for my brother. it's just like these gasps of air that are coming out.
Yeah.
And with each struggle, it feels harder and harder. And then I can see kind of this outline of just a shadow that's darker than the darkness of the room. It's not saying anything. I can't make out features. Like, in my head, I play back and I can picture where features would be, but whatever I'm picturing is not really coming out human because I can't really see what it was.
Yeah.
And that was the first initial thing. I remember just shooting up out of my bed, gasping for air, turning to my brother who's still asleep, and then just turning the TV on static and leaving it to light up the room.
After this first initial experience, Oscar starts to become more and more scared to fall asleep, becoming increasingly scared to rest. Even with his brother next to him, this was no comfort, as his presence seemed to have no effect on him. The encounters start to become more and more intense.
That was actually one of the thoughts that I had of when these things started to happen periodically. I was like, am I just seeing myself? Like, because they always have that thing of like, you don't recognize yourself. Like, you wouldn't be able to recognize like yourself. And that could be just a myth that people used to say back in the day or whatever. But that was one of the thoughts that popped in my head. I thought, oh, it's like, I remember hearing something about like, oh yeah, when you go to sleep, your soul kind of will sometimes just wander. It'll just wander around, and you're kind of waking up back at the same time that you're going back into your body.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that what's happening? But in my instance, I was never asleep when it happened. It was in the process of me like falling asleep that I would all of a sudden feel this heaviness. And it would only happen when I would make eye contact with whatever the entity was. So if I turned and looked at it, then instantly in paralysis. But if I, later in life when I started to ignore it, I was just like, just go away. Like,
yeah.
I'm not doing this. I want to go to sleep. Please don't bother me. Other times it was like, you're not going away. Okay, whatever. We're just going to go, and I'll turn over, and then paralysis would happen. And
it's strange. Like, it's almost, it happens when you see it. I think that's what's the strangest part about it, is that, you know, if you could fall asleep without staring at it, you'd be fine. But it's almost like it has a hold over you, or it's something like that.
Yeah, I always took it like before, when it was happening early on in life, you know, scared. Because you don't know what it is. It's a dark shadow being entering a room. It feels like heaviness in the air that weighs like 1,000 pounds, and you can feel it like on your chest. How they say how the night hag, things like that are all these names that are associated with these shadow people that visit you during paralysis. It's like, that's what you would feel, is kind of this pressure that you can't breathe, and whatever breath you have is just kind of like escaping your body. And there's like, there is sleep apnea within my family. But at that time I was a kid. I wasn't really like overweight or the things that are associated with that come with sleep apnea.
Now time passes on, and Oscar still intermittently feels this presence when he sleeps sometimes. But technology is moving forward with Oscar, and he now finds himself using a new resource at the time to try and find out if there are others who are having similar experiences.
The internet era of being able to search up these things and find out like, oh, a bunch of people are having the similar kind of experience, and wait, you know, mine is a little different to that. Oh wait, no, actually it matches with this one. I'm not alone. It's not weird. It's something crazy that's happening. I just need to figure out how to go about it and kind of deal with it.
It's definitely, I always I hadn't realized actually how many people had these sorts of experiences, but like you say, with the the internet basically available everywhere from the 2000s. It's strange how sort of, I know your experience, he didn't have a trench coat and a hat, but how the whole Hat Man phenomena has sort of come around, and people now have like an outlet to really put their experience forward and try and make sense of it.
I've been in contact with people who have experience. I have family members who also have experience, like seeing a shadow creature, things of that sort. I had one person message me about seeing their shadow figure was like almost like a mermaid.
Okay.
That was like soaking wet for whatever reason. So you got all these different types of things. There's like tall, lanky figures that people see. People will associate this type of sleep paralysis like phenomenon with alien abductions and seeing grays and things like that. So there's like this whole vast world of just things people see within sleep paralysis, and then once you dive into that, it's
a rabbit
not
hole,
game
isn't
over,
it?
but
yeah,
it's just a deep rabbit hole.
So at some point, Oscar and his family move from this house, and he was thinking that hopefully moving to a different state even would ease the nightmares. And in his new home, he decided to try and conduct an experiment to find out exactly what it was that was haunting him.
It followed me throughout. It would be started in California. Because that's where my parents grew up. My dad is from. My dad was born in Mexico. Came out to California. My mom in California. Then after about, I want to say 10, 12 years, moved to Arizona. Spent some time out in Arizona where I continued to have experiences to the point where in Arizona there was when I was in high school, maybe the end of middle school, there was a point where I was afraid to sleep in my room.
Yeah.
Because it kept happening. And again, it could be the fact of a sleep paralysis. A lot of people say occurs when you're in a high stress situation. It's a stressful change in your life, and that could have been from the move to Arizona, but it kept happening. And I was like, I'm just gonna sleep in the living room. I'm not gonna even be in the room. I don't know if it's something in the room. And I remember putting a recorder kind of just in the room, and I was just like, if anybody is in here, please. And I kept doing this thing of just putting a call out to just saying anything. If anything is in here, you can say something into the recorder. I'm gonna leave the room. But for some reason, I also left like a bunch of papers on the floor, just to try to catch any noise that I could. And I remember catching the paper crinkling on the floor, like if somebody had stepped on it. And I completely forgot about that until right now. But that was one of the things that happened in that house in Arizona.
And now we jump ahead in the story to when Oscar is older and moving from Arizona to Colorado with his fiancée. And the next chapter in his terrifying encounters with this being. This experience feels altogether different from anything he's encountered so far. Check it out.
The last experience was when we moved, when me and my fiance moved to Colorado. And again, another high stress situation where we are packing all of our stuff and driving from New York all the way to Colorado. In December, so we're going to run into snow, things like that. So we do that. It's 3 days of driving. We're trying to unpack. We're also looking after her brother's dog at the time. So it's like a lot going on when we get there. And then she goes to sleep in the room, and I'm staying up watching TV and doom scrolling at the same time, because how else are you going to rot your brain if you don't do two of those things at the same time?
Exactly. It's best way to rot your brain.
And then I hear her get up. She gets up. Yeah. She gets up, and she walks out, and she just turns back around. And as she's turning back around, I'm like, oh, are you okay? Are you all right? And I'm getting up just because I think it's weird. I thought something was wrong. And I'm following right behind her, and she closes the door right in my face. I immediately open it right away, and she's already in bed under the covers asleep. And I was like, all right, weird, but okay. And my initial thought was she was just sleepwalking or something, because she's talked in her sleep before.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, this is just something new. And then I laid down, and then I hear footsteps coming towards me, and I put my phone down immediately, and it is that's the shadow figure. And then right away, and in my head I was like, it's like it tricked me. Like it's like it's been so many years without an experience. How he's gotten to a point where he now knows when it's gonna happen. How am I gonna like flip the script on him a bit?
Yeah.
And it was, in a sense, pretending to be my fiance and kind of get me to let my guard down.
Yeah,
it worked.
It's kind of terrifying, really. It's like almost shows that it's sentient, like it almost knows how to get you into that state where it can sort of get you in the night.
Yeah, and that was like that was one of the last times I experienced anything. After that would be my fiance would experience things, especially when I started to collect haunted objects. She would experience things. And then anybody who would stay over at our place kept having dreams of me crawling into the bed with them, into the guest room. And the guest room is where I did my recordings, and I did these things and talked about these things. And so I'm thinking maybe that has some kind of play in why something was happening specifically in that room for guests who would come. But I was like, no, that wasn't me. I did not crawl in the bed with you. Sorry.
I am happy with my fiance, thank you.
Every single person, multiple people would say it. They would be like, yeah, I had this weird dream, and I wasn't just at night, because I remember picking up her brother one time from the airport, and it was the middle of the day, and he took a nap in the middle of the day and had the same dream. He's like, I swear you crawled in the bed right next to me. I swear it was you that crawled in the bed right next to me.
That's so strange. Do they have the dream, or do they actually feel a presence and they think it's you and they put it?
Yeah,
or is it
in their head? It was like, I swear it was you. I swear you actually came and crawled in the bed. Like I felt you. Like, and each one of their responses was like, "What are you doing? What is going on?" And then like back to sleep, and then I'm not there.
After all these experiences, you might think Oscar would want to stay as far away from the paranormal as he could, but this is not the case, and you might be surprised in what he began collecting.
I'm actually looking to get rid of things that I have. I had gotten a doll. It all started with a doll that got sent to me. A friend knew a photographer who just had bought this doll for pictures, to add it for like the background, things like that. They picked it up at a thrift store. They started to have weird experiences, and they were like, I don't want to deal with this. He contacted me. They just sent me the doll. They said it would watch them while they slept. It would play music, and things like that. Kind of like the normal haunted doll motifs. But the hand was broken when it came to me. So what I did was I just glued it, and it was this porcelain doll that you wind up, and it plays music. Um, and it never turned and like would look or watch me sleep or anything like that. But it would do like settling noises to where you hear the crank kind of settle, and then you'd hear the music, kind of like two little tings of the music. That's about it. I never had anything happen with that. And then just because I was in a curious state at that time, I was just like, I want something to happen. I want something crazy to happen. Even though it's almost like my own experiences didn't matter. I was like, I need to see something, because in my head, I can explain sleep paralysis. It's always when I'm in a high stress situation, a big change in my life, those are when they happen. I can explain that away if I need to. So I wanted something to happen. So I just started collecting things. Ended up getting a weird piece of art that my fiance really did not like. She was just like, I get a really ugly feeling from it. Please don't buy it. And I was like, I'm going to buy it anyways. And then we ended up buying, I don't know what the correct term is, but it's what a priest would wear over his arm during communion, and then he would wipe the cup.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name of it myself.
It's a very ornate piece of kind of fabric, white and gold. And we just picked it up at this like oddities and curiosities convention, and this woman was selling like a bunch of old vintage like church items. And we still have like kind of a corner of our place that is with old kind of vintage religious items. So I was like, oh, perfect. Here's $30 for it. We'll take it home. Took it home. Got home, threw it just on the dresser next to a pair of broken plastic devil horns that light up. The ones that break as soon as you get them. The ones that don't light up. Like, which they did, and they were broken. So I just threw the thing on the dresser, and at 3 a.m, red glow, much like behind me, just lights up the whole room. And we're like, what? Why is it red in the room? And we look over, and I was like, oh, I guess these work now. And I just kind of like shake them so it shuts off again, and it didn't turn back on after that.
It's weird.
And I was like, okay, weird. All right. Then we just go back to sleep. But then she started to have like just nightmares and not feeling good inside of the place. And she would hear noises or people talking. And I would always associate that with, we live in a condo. We got people around us and below us.
Yeah.
We're going to hear people sometimes. But she was very adamant. I was like, no, I know what the neighbors sound like. It's not the neighbors. This is something else. And to a point to where eventually, whatever it was, she had a nightmare. I remember leaving to go for work, going to kiss her goodbye, and then she's up and crying.
Okay.
And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And she's like, I saw it. I saw what it was. I had the worst nightmare. I saw what it was. It's ugly. It's ugly. It's that thing over there. And she points over to this piece that we still just had thrown on the dresser. She just kept saying, it's that thing. Whatever it is, it's ugly. And I was like, she was very adamant. Please don't go to work. Please don't leave me alone. Please do something about this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what to do. Because in my head, I'm like, maybe you just freaked out, but I'll contact people. I'll figure out what I can do.
Yeah.
A lot of people said burn it, but I was like, I don't know if that's going to do anything. Plus I spent $30 on this, and I'm kind of cheap about that. So what I did is I just said prayers over it. At that point, not incredibly strong within my faith, kind of, it's just something that was there. So I'm saying prayers, and I got it's the whole 9, the holy water, everything. And I'm just kind of like, whatever this is, I am putting you, if you're attached to this thing, whatever, I'm putting you in this jar, in this big glass jar. And when I seal it, you are not to get out of here. Because I have this belief of that not only will like God and Jesus protect me, now is that belief, but like before, my belief was I have both spiritual and physical energy. Whatever this thing is only spiritual. I'm already stronger than what it is.
Now, Oscar touched on it there, talking about energy and really his spiritual energy. And being someone who really isn't that religious, I asked Oscar for his take on religion and possibly what he thought it was that had followed him all these years.
At the end of the day, if you believe in the Bible's a very spiritual and supernatural book. There are supernatural things that happen inside of it. So for you to deny that there's a supernatural world is pretty crazy. Especially for anybody who needs to get things off their chest, whether it be for them to talk, it's good to be an ear for somebody to listen. Yeah.
And it's strange, actually. I've never really thought about it like that. There are, obviously, because, I mean, my sort of background is, my mum was Catholic, maybe, when she was young. My dad's family, not so much. And then, I mean, me and my sisters are all baptized, so they must believe in something, but we were never sort of like obviously told what to believe. But in school, obviously, we learnt in religious studies and stuff certain, chapters from different texts and stuff. But it's interesting that you say there's supernatural aspects of the Bible. So how could you not maybe believe that there's supernatural out there in the world as well?
Yeah,
I never thought about it like that.
That's the whole thing of like spiritual warfare. When it came down to they're not as crazy common as like maybe the movies make it out to be, but like demonic forces in the world. Like there are people who experience these things. There are people who have these stories of being possessed by these things, and it's like, okay, those things are happening. You can believe in those things. You can believe in seeing a ghost. You can believe there's a ghost of somebody from like the 1800s or things like that. So it's like you just have to be careful on what you're calling out to. Yeah. Because you don't know. At the end of the day, you don't know. It could be the spirit of somebody. It could be something pretending to be the spirit of that person. Because there is a story within the Bible of, I don't remember exactly who it was, but they contact the spirit of somebody who passed. And these were both very religious men. And the spirit comes forward and he tells the guy, "What are you doing? You are not supposed to do this. This is a no-go. Like, stop it right now." So in that sense, you do know spirits exist. And in stories like that within the Bible. Yeah. So when people are saying that, like, oh yeah, I'm contacting this person, I'm just putting a call out. That's why I believe there's no difference between you simply saying, are there any spirits here within a location, and then using the Ouija board. I don't think the Ouija board has any inherent evil to it, especially when you learn the actual history of how the Ouija board came about and things like that. There was a lot of scamming going on during that time. So when you take in all those things, it's just like, be careful. And especially with my fiance being very sensitive to things, especially when we would go out and do investigations, her anxiety shot all the way up, very in a state of panic, and she just did not like it. She was always afraid. of those things. So now it's more so like, okay, well, I don't need to do it. I'm perfectly fine talking to people, having conversations, letting people know that they're not alone, things like that.
Yeah.
That's where it's kind of led me now.
And on that positive note from Oscar there, I think that's where we're going to leave it. His experience is really crazy, you know, starting from when he's young, like I said at the start, spanning decades. And is it sleep paralysis? Is it hypnagogic? Is he in like a hypnagogic state? Is he looking for patterns like all humans do, where there is no pattern? I don't know. It's a crazy one. All I know is I'd be fucking terrified if it was happening to me. Now, hopefully you will have fully recovered from Oscar's story by the time the next episode comes out, because you might think I am fine with ghosts, but on the next episode, we have a potential Bigfoot encounter. Check it out.
And then we hear something walking in and it's big. And we're like, is this a bear? And just step. And it's not like trying to be sneaky or anything. It's just making a lot of noise and it's coming in and the dog would not move. The dog is sitting up like we are in trouble if this thing attacks. So we tried to just keep a defensive position. It just stood there and like stared us down for, and again, 6 or 7 minutes doesn't sound like a long time, but when you're in the middle of nowhere and there's like this big, it's an animal. You don't know what it is. Is it Bigfoot? Is it a bear? Like whatever it is, it ain't good. Like this is something that could take us down easily. It's not doing anything. It's not coming closer. It's not moving off. It's just staring at us. And again, it's almost like a human thing. It's almost just like, you know, come at me, bro.